If I had to describe Hardgroove in one word, I would say energy. The music is full of energy. There are some other words I could use, but energy is the most important. When I DJ, it's energy, energy, energy. The energy in Hardgroove doesn't come from only from BPM. It does come from BPM because we are talking about 140 plus, so that gives already a little bit of energy. But that energy is also the sounds you use, the percussion, like the hypnotic percussion we use, the groove, the kicks we use. Yeah, Hardgroove was a big thing back in end of the 90s, in the beginning 2000s. Although it was not called Hardgroove, it was called normal techno. On every party, it was full. We had every party, like the electronics parties, the pornographic parties. We had 2,000 people. I Love Techno, the editions like 2000, 2001 were already with 3 rooms, like 20,000 people. And then from 2002, it was a 5 rooms full. We're talking about 35,000 people each year. And almost every room was filled with this kind of music. Maybe one room was more electro-minded, but the rest of the rooms was full with this kind of music. And yeah, every room where you came in, it was this constantly loops with these rhythms. Yeah, it took you on a vibe that you couldn't resist to dance. You have to dance on this music. Hardgroove evolved from normal techno. Like I said, in the beginning 2000s, we speak about normal techno, and we go a little bit more percussive and more percussive and more percussive. And from that out came that tribal-ish techno, that called tribal techno. But they used more like these congas in every track. Like, for example, Cave, DJ Cave, you had Christian Varela, I don't know who else. I was less in that kind of stuff. I was more, I like more the grooves, the rhythms. I use, of course, congas and percussion here and there, but these congas, that I never used them so much. But then it went harder and faster, and these rhythms, that became schans, in my opinion, because there was a lack of. It started to get a little bit too many times the same music, and too many people took loops from sample CDs and put them in. So I have the impression that this is the way that schans started, because people and some producers wanted to try something differently. And go a little bit faster, a little bit harder, and yeah, that's how it started, I think. Yeah, distortion was back in the days not so important for me, but my tracks had a little bit of distortion because I used all analog stuff, and I put it so hot into my mixing table because I had a 24 channel mixing table, first from Behringer and then from Mackie, and we put it so out inside that we overdrive it, that we had this kind of distortion. We had no external distortion modules at that time. Now I use it many times, not real distortion, but like more saturation tape inside the plugins, because we have the many more possibilities. But back in the days, it was not possible to buy all those modules. I had one module that could do it. That was the Sherman filter bank, but it was so crazy. I think I almost never used it on one of my records. Back in the days, we used all sample packs, of course. We had no percussionists next to us. Some people used them. I remember Christian Varela and Bando and stuff, the Spanish guys. They had one guy who did some congas for them. But we in Belgium, I didn't have it. So we had all sample packs. And I remember one time that I bought with Best Service, I think it's a German company, I bought like 40 sample CDs at the same time. And the guy called me and he said, "Is this an error? Is this a mistake that you are ordering 40 sample CDs?" I said, no, this is not a mistake. But it was not only percussive sample CDs. I bought everything. Like I think I remember things that go bump in the night. It was full of FX effects and stuff. Transfusion. I don't know what else. The main important sample CDs I used back in the days were no kick. I still use them today. No kick 1 and no kick 2. We used all sample CDs, and I had next to that a Virus B. This is one of the main synths I use in all my records that I did on Zinc, on the record label Zinc. And I had a Yeezy 2080. And now I must remember, I had a vocoder that is still here behind me, but it's not switched on. I used it in a lot of records in Mankind and Zinc. It's sample CDs was a big part of the music, but besides that we used a lot of external gear also. Now, at this moment, I sold almost all my gear because all of the things I have them in plugin shape. Like for example, the Virus B. There is now a free plugin called Osiris. It mimics the Virus B, totally the same. And I could use all the presets I have inside. Like in my Virus B, I can use like 6 or 7 banks of 128 presets. Now it's amazing. It's unlimited presets inside. Back in the days, we used also a Nord Lead 2, like, but not the synth. We had the rack version. I must remember we had a TR909 for a while. I'm gonna bust my. And the most important things for me were the EMU Planet Fat and the EMU Orbit. The EMU Planet Fat is still here next to me. It's still use it a lot in my records, like in the Mutual Rhythm one, in the first one, and in the track I did for Mutual Rhythm on Mutual Rhythm 10. This one is used a lot. Why do I still have this and not the other ones? Because I like the sounds of this one, and I cannot find this on a sample CD or in a plugin. It's so a typical sound, and it's just a Rampler. It plays other sounds. It's not a synth. It's I cannot find this anywhere else, and that's why I still have it. But the rest, I can now use it in plugin shape, and it interests me much more because I am the possibilities are endless. And before, back in the days, we were limited to we can do this, but then we have to skip this. Then we do this, then we have to skip this. Like my sampler was an S2000. I had only like 1 minute sampling time. Now you can sample for 5 days and the thing is still okay. I like it more like it is right now because the possibilities are so big. Back in the days, we were always limited to that, and we couldn't change our tracks. The tracks are always in the same style, because the possibilities were so limited. And that's also why I needed more sample CDs, because that gave fresh ideas or fresh material to make other sort of tracks. And that's the reason why I bought so many sample CDs at that time. Yeah, Hardgroove disappeared because it was getting boring. It was you had too many people who were doing the same stuff over and over again, using those same sample CDs, because there were not many sample CDs, and always the same loops. And the thing was that even other DJs started to sample the full track of another track. There was 2 guys who sampled the full line of my track and put it on a new track, put it 1 conga upon it, and said it was their track. I'm not gonna name any names, but this was happening at that time. So I must say, it was in Belgium they say bloedarmoede. They say it's there was not enough inventive ideas anymore. That they came against there came a reaction that became slower and slower and slower. In the beginning, I liked it a lot because it was fresh against this energy stuff all the time. But then again, after a while, it got boring again to me, and I was hoping for this reborn of normal techno, I would say. This thing, why is it still more popular than it used to be? It's because music comes in waves. It always goes up and down. And it's somebody who told me, it's Advent, the Advent, he told me, Steve, don't worry. He says music goes high, down, high, down. And I think we are now at that point that a lot of people rediscovered it again, and they said, "Wow, this music is full of energy." And there were some new names who got some new ideas into the music, and it took also guys like me also like, wow, it's getting interesting again, and like for example Shadow, he was asking me all the time, do your old style again, do it again. So I started doing it again, and I was not the only one who started to do it again. So and yeah, I found my second breath in this kind of music. The forgotten genre, yes, but it was always there, but it just popped up again, and it's I think, to be honest, it's more interesting now. The real typical, what they call now Hardgroove, what they call back in the days normal techno, is now more interesting because of the ideas you can put in, of the possibilities of the computer that we didn't have back in the days. Back in the days, limited, we can do this, bam. Now you can put in the weirdest sounds, the most nice synth inside. You can arrange much better. The track sounds much better than back in the days because the mastering is much better, the mixing is much better, because that was a problem back in the days also. The mixing sometimes was really, really bad because the loops from the sample CDs, they didn't sound good, so you put them into the sampler, it sounded even worse. Then on the mixing table you try to do change a little bit the tone of the sample, but that didn't work. And yeah, okay, well, let's release it. But this now you can really, okay, you have to have a good sample, but now you can really change everything you want because of the possibilities you have right now. And that's the big change, I think. The tracks are more punchier than back in the days, and that's why some people also rediscovered it. And I think it was time for the next generation, like that, up and down, up and down. A lot of the younger generation, they said to me, yeah, we went to listen to your old music and we want to do this music again. So it was time for this generation, I think. And then some old guys like me, they liked it also and started to do stuff again also, yeah. How I see the music evolve. Okay, I think now this kind of music with a lot of rhythms will stay. I'm sure of it. But we will have variations on it, and it's already happening right now. Like, for example, Schler in the beginning, like 1 year ago, 2 years ago, he was more like a Hardgroove. I would say not Hardgroove, but he was more like percussive kind of stuff. If you see what he makes right now these days, it's more minimalish-like, with very strange sounds. A lot of granular also that they use. So I think it's going up and down again. Like I said, back in the days, it went down because there was a lot of copying. Now I don't have this feeling that there is a lot of copying at the moment. So I think we are not yet at the end of Hardgroove or normal good techno at 140 BPM. But there will be a counter movement, of course, like there was back in the days. And I think more minimalish is coming. You feel this already. Like if you see like guys like Alarico, a lot of people are trying to copy him at the moment. And I think that is not the good way, uh, because they really try to sound like him, and that is when a genre dies. You must be inventive, and I don't have this feeling with the normal techno that this is the moment yet. Um, how will it evolve? I don't know. In these days, it's very difficult to predict with the social media. Um, Social media picks out the trends these days. Back in the days, you could feel stuff coming up and down, and now I cannot predict what is in 1 year will be the popular style, or what will it really evolve. But I am certain that this kind of techno, like this 140, 145 BPM, will stay for at least a couple of years, as we are not bleeding to death yet, like we were in 2005. I don't have this impression right now. Like, I get a lot of promos, and I have a feeling like every week when I download the promos or I go to Beatport, I am listening some very good music. I If I do sets, like in 2005, I had to search records because I for 2 hour sets I didn't know what to play, what record. It was a shit, this, oh no, it's not good, it's not good enough. Now I can play 5 6 hour sets with all the records I get from 2 months of promos, because they were really good stuff. Also a little bit more minimal, also a little bit more even more harder, but yeah, at the moment at a good style of music in techno. Um, it's I'm just afraid of social media. The social media is like a dictator of what happens in the scene right now, and I feel that is a very sad evolution. I am not the only one. I think every DJ says it online, but that doesn't disturb me here in my studio. Here in my studio, I do what I want. I am the boss here, not the social media. And I hope a lot of producers will say the same thing. I'm not gonna follow this trend or this trend or this trend. I'm gonna stick to my genre that I want to make, because I am not sure I will make Hardgroove in 2 years. I don't know. I made in the past also some electro stuff and or some James Holden stuff, because it interests me. I don't know. I wanted to make like the sound structure interested me, but I I hope that a lot of producers say, in my studio I am the boss and I do what I want. I make the music I want, and this will decide a genre, if it exists or it will stay, or we will separate into many things that I cannot foresee at this moment. I did a masterclass for Sign, where we did a Hardgroove masterclass, or I would call it also a normal techno masterclass. We did something in the beginning about the kicks. I teach 3 ways about how making your kick, how to make a bass, how to make that typical 2004 rolling bass, how to make a rumble, how to combine the 2 or 3 methods together. What to do else? Make grooves. The simple method with just the sample CDs, but then also the more difficult method with cutting the samples, and then I have some price with a special plugin I use a lot. I do field recordings. I'm not. If you want to see it, you have to see the masterclass. And then I use some other plugins I use a lot that make special sounds, and where we can make special creations out of it. Then we touched some atmospheres and some sounds, and then we went to a rearrangement, which took always a big part of my production phase, because this is the arrangement is the stuff I like to do the least. I like the creative part is my best part, is my interesting part, because, for example, I have like 300 small tracks on my computer, but nothing is arranged. So and in the end, we did a little bit of mixing of every track of every, and then a little bit of mastering in the end, so you can play your track outside or test it outside. Maybe go to a masterer afterwards, but then you have already the feeling about that you can play the track yourself and compare it with other tracks if it sounds good or not. So back in the days, we had nobody who could help us to say you could do it like this or do it like this. I only had my father, who is also into music and who teach me some things about Cubase, but that was it. He's into blues. He cannot teach me about techno or house or whatever. So I had to learn it all by myself. I bought some books in the library, and I read them for some things I could use, but there were not so many. So now you have the possibilities to see this guy does that, this guy does that, this guy does that. Even I, after 30 years, I watch tutorials, I watch masterclasses. So even if it's one or two things you can know about in a masterclass that you can use and combine with other methods you see or you learned somewhere else, it's already a win. So that's why I wanted to give one time the masterclass. It's a everyday process of learning. Even I, after 30 years, making music is like riding a bike for me. But I still want to learn. Still want to food for the brain. I will never be satisfied with how I make music and how I produce, because if you don't want to learn anymore, you stand still, and I think you're not with anymore into the new generation of music or the new generation of people into your music, because the possibilities will change. The possibilities now will not be the same in 5 years or in 10 years. If I see it right now, like granular was 15 years. Maybe existed, I don't know personally, but now everybody uses granular. Now it's popular. 15 years ago it was not. 10 years ago maybe the synth was already there in Ableton, I don't know, but so the possibilities will evolve. And now that we have AI, I think this will change technology totally. We know now already have synths that duplicate sounds that you put in, and they duplicate it, so you can use it. So I think the possibilities will be enormous in the future. I'm sure about this. So if you want to be with the evolution, watch tutorials, watch masterclasses, and learn something else from other artists.